How's that for an intro? I love these things. All right, we're juiced up. Let's do this. Random questions and answers. Question and answer. Yeah, that sounds right. Make sure you are please following all your local fields on social media. I think I've said that enough times for 1 week. Put on the Instagrams, like random non-airsoft related questions and stuff you had. So I'm just gonna sort of rattle them all out as soon as I can find where I put that picture. Screenshot. Here it is. Tap Connor, why people should learn CPR and how to use tourniquets. So, in the gun world, TACMED is real big. I'd say in general, if you don't know basic CPR and first aid, go YouTube it because I've used it before. I remember my first year being a cop. I was driving. I was off duty. I think this was actually the first off-duty thing I really took care of. And she was later. I found out she was hammered drunk. She crashed into the Arden Fair Mall. Like they have these big pillars on the by the bus stops, and she had like a long, I don't know, if it was like a Cadillac or something like that. And she's going to make a turn, and she takes it too wide. She was hammered. Boom! Slams it with it and her girlfriend in it. Just straight center mass is this giant pillar. Their faces were all cut up. So me and a group of random people got them out of the car and patched them up as best as I could and waited for first responders to get there. But if you don't know basic first aid and CPR, I promise you one day you are going to find yourself in a scenario in which you did and someone's going to get more injured than they needed to be. It's a good class to take. I was a CPR instructor. I might get recertified as an instructor for it again. Favorite firearm that I own from Canadian Savage. My favorite firearm that I own is my Beretta 92 FS. It's the gun I shoot upside down from 7 yards as a selling point. Dream gun for me right now, probably Remy 700 in 308 distance gun. I love distance shooting and target shooting way more than I ever love the the action pistol stuff. It's a different energy. It's a different environment. It's a different kind of people. Tanks if you care enough. Like what? Guy who something. I don't know what that means. Tanks are cool. The end. Moving on. Jake Sloman. Jake Sloman. Come back down to Tax City. So the plan, MLA has invited a couple NorCal teams in August to compete down there in their next tournament. I don't know if I'm going. Originally, I wanted to come back down this month in June for the Jungle Ball tournament down in N1. I am not going to be able to make that because I don't have the money. And the tournament is on a Sunday, and then that Monday, my daughter flies into Sacramento. So I got to pick her up. So I might be back down in SoCal in August for the MLA thing. For sure, I'm going to try to be down in, when's Airsoft Con? October? November? I'm going to try down there. I'm trying to get my field. I'm trying to get the Airsoft Ministry a booth at Airsoft Con. That'd be really big for us. Moving on. Cali gun regulation rants. I don't have any. I don't care. I don't really care. Everyone wants to complain about high cap magazines, blah, blah, blah. Look, most of those guys can't shoot anyway. I don't care about however many rounds I get is however many rounds I'm going to land on target. Ta-da! If you can't be in the same mindset, you shouldn't have a gun in the first place. That was from King's Fist. Beezy from DOA. Real steel pistol tips and tricks. how do I want to word this? Sports, the psychology, not the psychological aspect per se, but more like the mental, like the visualization of what you're doing. Um, a lot of guys have problems with recoil anticipation. So recoil anticipation is not something that I can fix quickly. Like if your grip is kind of off, I can physically move your hands. We can change your feet positioning if your stance is kind of funky. And recoil anticipation is one of those things where you have to start using kind of tricking yourself. I have some drills for that. Basically, when you're dry firing in your house with an empty gun, in your head, you need to visualize that you have a loaded gun on the range. When you're actually loaded on the range, you need to visualize that you're back in your home, with an empty gun. And really steadying yourself in the really focus on the position you're in. Kind of like yoga. If you're decent with yoga, you could be, I would say, a much better shooter than a newer shooter who is not. Because and that goes with anything that involves you to focus on your position. So weightlifters usually athletes in general usually have a better time with beginning shooting drills because they already understand their body and the importance of positions and movements. Alan Rowan 23. Should the military use Glocks and AKs? No. Here's why. So the U.S. military is absolutely never going to go away from the M4 platform. It's never going to happen because it's our fundamental platform. They might mod it here and there. I think years ago, H&K, when they came out with that 416 upper, the Army was thinking about swapping uppers out. That's the closest they'll ever get to going away from that M4 platform anytime soon. They will absolutely never go to that AK platform because it's a Russian gun. We ain't doing that. They'll never go to the DoD sold for the average soldier, Marine, whatever, the average MP or officer, whatever. DoD will absolutely 100% never, ever, ever go to Glocks because keep in mind, there's a specific regulation that governs the kind of pistol they have. A pistol needs to be, at a minimum, it has to have a mechanical safety. Like if you read the regs or if you read like the marketing stuff they put out when DoD fields a new pistol, one of the big things is it absolutely has to have a mechanical safety, a safety selector. Glocks have trigger safeties, but they don't have mechanical safety. So for that reason, Glock is absolutely never going to be a part of the military. There are Glocks in the military in the DoD system, but they're niche. They're very niche. But for like the average like PFC MP pushing a patrol car writing 1408s, the average first sergeant or like admin company commander, you're not going to see those guys getting Glocks because the Glock doesn't conform to the DoD standard for pistols. CJ Airsoft, Fortnite. I'm too old for Fortnite. Moving on. Shaun of the Dead, mindset greater than gear, tactics greater than gear. Too often, whiny, stupid little airsoft kids want to complain and talk more about gear than their own actual technique. I think it's because it's easier to buy good gear than to train yourself to not suck. That makes sense. Like anyone can go out and buy like the highest level of gear you can find. But it takes way more work to be better at implementing that gear. In that, Shaun of the Dead has it in that right order, I believe. Mindset is greater than tactics, and they are both greater than gear. So mindset goes first, because I'm sick and tired of being, that's not real. You wouldn't do that in combat. Shut up. Anyone that wants to relate airsoft, casual weekend airsoft play to combat needs to sit down and shut your stupid mouth because you don't know what you're talking about. If we're doing like a Milsim West thing, okay, that might be a little different because that event is specifically tailored to simulate real world stuff. But if you're going to like Tac City and complaining, or CQB City and complaining that's not real world, you're stupid. You're ignorant. You're not a very smart person. You're probably not going to go very far in life. moving on. Where you deployed and where for how long? So, first deployment was in 2004 to Iraq, specifically to LSA Anaconda. I was in Sabre City with the 10th Cavalry. That was I was a tank loader. That was only for a few months. That was the tail end of the 4th Infantry Division's first deployment, and then I was on the full ride for the 4th Infantry Division's second deployment, which was in 2005, the end of 2005. So that was this. My second one was the first one was January to March or April, I think, and then the second one was from December '05 to November '06, and that was with 4th Infantry Division. I was with the G3 Operations Cell, and I was an ops assistant, and then like a stand-in gunner for convoy security and a bunch of other random stuff. Look, ops assistant is like, that's like laborer. That's an easy way to say laborer. You're just grunt labor. Third deployment, I don't call it a deployment because for me a deployment is not, you can't, for me, my definition, a deployment only means a new combat zone. So, like, you can't deploy to Cuba, even though I did. I call it like a mobilization or a vacation. So I was in Gitmo for all of 2015? 2015? I think that sounds right. That sounds right. All of 2015. I was from January to December. So almost all of 2015 I was deployed or mobilized. That was with the 270th MP company, with the National Guard company. That was in Gitmo, and I was the external security platoon sergeant for that. So I was basically a manager. That was an easy gig. Army life, Garza Bradley, 98. And then he also says Army stuff. I'm going to kind of stay away from that because I don't know what you, like, are we like, what aspect? Because your definition of what you're looking for at Army life and mine are very different. Mine is very dark. Definitely like adult 18 level. Yeah. Anyway, why do you recommend the Army? Want to know? I've never recommended it. Plan on. This is from Nixon, NXTIONS, whatever. I'm not learning to read. Why do you recommend the Army? Want to know because I plan on joining the military. Just don't know what. I assume he's asking what branch. Listen to me very carefully. This is the order it needs to be in. Navy, Air Force, Army, Marines. That's the order it needs to be in. Don't go combat. Are you, like, if you're going grunt, it's because you graduated in the bottom 10% of your high school class, like I did. And if you think I'm wrong, look at Wood Creek 2003. Like, see if you can see the graduation statistics. I was at the very bottom. Don't. Get a nice cushy desk job, because when I got out as a tank, I was a tank loader. When I first got out of the Army, I did like those little websites where it's like, hey, if you did this, they can convert over into this. Well, the funny thing about driving a tank is you can't do that in the real world. So the jobs that were recommended for me were truck driver, security guard, and janitor. Oof, that hurts. So be something with the word technician at the end of it. Bubba's 30. Boy Ryan, trap. I suck at trap. He just says trap shooting. He's a trap. I suck at trap shooting. I am not good with a shotgun at all. But trap and skeet shooting is never something I've necessarily had to do. That's why rifle and pistol are kind of my thing. Because the shotgun is completely neglected in the military. Because it's not usually used as a primary. It's used as like a breacher or more of a tool than a weapon. So I love it. I love to. You've seen me take out them pheasants. Trap shooting is probably one of the best shooting sports you can get into. It's rarely regulated. No legislator cares about a pump shotgun. Look at the laws that have been trying to change the way for pistol and rifle. No one cares about pump shotguns. It's also the cheapest shooting sport you can get into. What's a box of 100 shells? Like $15, something like that. Trap shooting is probably one of the best sports you can do for shooting. It's way more rec. I love it way more than that. I think, was that it? Boop, 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 boop. And then that was it. So, this was the first little Q&A thing I'm doing. What are we on here? I don't know where my timer is. Do I? Do I know where it is? I don't know where it is. I will I'll try to do one of these at least once a month, maybe once every couple weeks or so. That's it. The end. Please make sure you check out all your social media stuffs for your local fields. Please be engaging. Please follow the rules. Please don't be a jerk. Bye.